Today, just to give you a little more calm show, I took a little extra time to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about mail today. Can you believe it? And also the challenges that media faces with measurement as the world goes cookieless. I think it'll be an interesting perspective. So hang on and here we go. But first, let's watch this. CAA is like the AAA Car Association, American Automobile Association, but for Canada. I think Canada is in America. So I don't know why they couldn't just go with AAA, but whatever. And this is from David Foley. He sent me this and thought that this was a really interesting multimedia, omni-channel approach. So someone's going through their mail, right? They're going through their mail, and let's see what happens. Okay, looking through the mail.
Do you even bother opening that? What's this one going to cost you?
Insurance documents enclosed.
Wait, the Oval of Trust.
The Oval of Trust.
It's going to be okay. CAA Insurance, making things better.
Okay, that was just a 15-second commercial, but it illustrates people looking at their mail. You don't have to open it. You can throw it right in the trash. Junk mail empowers individuals. You can throw it in the trash without regret. How many times have you thrown something in the trash and then you say, oh man, now I remember why I saved that. Too late, the trash is gone. You have to think about everything you put in the trash. Not direct mail. You won't hear that from any other news source, I'm pretty sure. But that aside, there's a tremendous value in it. So let's get over to the rest of the news. We're going to be talking about cookies. Advertisers slowly acknowledge that measurement, not targeting, might be the bigger cookie challenge. From Seb Joseph, DigiDay. What a really great article. He really says it. He says, really, cookies have been phasing out since Safari and Firefox started doing it in 2017 and 2019, respectively. That's 5 years, 7 years. That's a long time. Safari hasn't had any cookies. Yep, and I've been using Firefox. Mostly I do, right? Mostly. Marketers, but now Chrome has knocked out 1% of their browsers aren't doing cookies. And Nick Tiano, Chief Revenue Officer at digital marketing and tech consulting firm Marketing Science, says that's enough to feel it. Enough to feel the absence. Already they're feeling the absence. For better or worse, it's difficult for marketers to understand there's a problem if they can't feel it. And it's a catalyst of some sort to start mitigating the risk of not being able to track people at scale outside of the walled gardens. And you can't really track them inside the walled gardens because if you send them out to a website or something else, you can only tell if it came from Facebook immediately, as I understand it. You can maybe have them order on Facebook if it's the right kind of item, but not for a full-scale product assortment. Some say they're using IP address and fingerprinting as alternatives. Well, some are leading on modeling and additional tech from Google like consent mode. Has anybody seen consent mode? I haven't, and I do use Chrome on my Linux machine because it seems to be a little more Linux friendly than Firefox. But I do have multiple Linux machines running it, just if you think I'm just a marketing guy. Okay, I suggested that to Elon Musk when he complained about Windows having to be you have to allow now Windows to look at all your files and decide if they want to use them for AI or not, or something like that. That's what Musk said. I don't know if it's true. Anyway, we started to shift the conversation to also include measurement because it's potentially even more impacted by third-party cookies than targeting. Jamie Seitzer, who leads the data technology and analytics at Havas Media CSA division, said there's so many tools and alternatives coming to the market right now on the activation side of things, but not much when it comes to measurement. Okay, so marketers are starting to have to reassess three aspects of their measurement plans: attribution, media mix modeling, and experimental solutions. Attribution in particular is expected to face significant challenges without the support of third-party cookies. Right. And mixed media modeling, it's like you don't worry about it too much and you just do a bunch of stuff and throw it at the wall and hope you can figure out if sales go up or down. Attention measurement, that's like system one, which I talked about yesterday. It doesn't tell you exactly what's going on, but it does tell you whether people liked your commercial. Marketers need to be able to understand that when they target an audience, is it worth what they paid? And that was yesterday's article where it said, if you use automated ad placement, about a third of what you pay goes to the ad tech people. About a third of it goes to fraud, according to the article, and about a third of it actually gets to the publishers. You'd be far better off, possibly, by going directly to the publishers, giving them all the money, and asking what kind of deals they'd give you. You probably do better. But part of that is based on abandoning the idea that you can get an ad in front of the right person at the right time with the right message. It doesn't work. Why? Because I don't know what I want next. I don't know what I'm going to buy next. I really don't. I honestly don't know my own mind. And you don't either. And because you don't know your own mind, how in the world are you going to predict my mind? Where I'm going next? You just don't know. And of course, I told that story about how my cruise control quit working. It was totally pilot error, but I didn't know that if you didn't have your car in drive, you couldn't do the cruise control. It makes total sense when you think about it. But accidentally, I put it in one gear lower, and I was driving along and my car was kind of humming a lot. And when I connected the sound with the gear and then put it in drive, then the cruise control worked. But I was ready to sell my car at that moment. And then I was unready. And that's the way it works. That's the way humans are, right? We get a bug in our butt and we say, I got to do this. And then you're supposed to be there before I even think about anybody else? No, it's not going to happen. What's going to happen is I'm going to say blah, blah, blah near me, and it's going to bring up 40 of your competitors, right? You need to be there before that. You need to be there broadly. And that's what the article proposed, is that it's probably less expensive to buy sloppy media than it is to try to target with this holy grail of the right person, the right time, and the right message. It's impossible. Doesn't matter how many cookies you have. But you pay a lot extra for that, for trying that. Okay? So we're testing and evaluating these audiences to get as close to business outcomes as possible, says Stephanie Estes. Okay? Marketers also acknowledge, those same marketers acknowledging that cookie-based audience tracking never actually really worked very well to begin with. Can you believe it? It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And I didn't even get this. If I'm a marketer and my incentive is to spend X amount of dollars here and get attributed, then you're going to do that because this attribution makes you look good. This is exactly what's been going on for 20 years in digital advertising. You come out of grad school and you say, oh, I'm the hot shot. I'm going to go all digital. I'm going to cancel all the mail and I'm going to take it over and we're going to make a ton of money. Guess what? And then you ask Google, gee, where did all my sales come from? Never mind, the mailing went out. We know who we mailed. We match back the sales to that list and we find out that the return on investment is 300%. Profit to the bottom line. The revenue to ad cost is probably 1,000%, right? That's kind of normal, basically, I got to tell you. And so, but what happens? Where do those people go when they get your mailer? They go back to your website. And Google says, oh, they already have a cookie. We put a cookie on there 6 months ago. It's all us. Yeah, okay. So 30% of retailers' revenue in January depended on third-party cookies. Half of its revenue over that period came from Chrome, which is about the industry's, Chrome is about like this. They can see if they're having to pay more to acquire those people who don't have third-party cookies versus those who do. And it was never meant to be like this. This is really it. Ad execs perhaps naively hoped that the demise of third-party cookies would unite key players in open web around a single solution capable of providing the scale needed to attract the dollars. What it got instead was a patchwork of solutions spanning a wide spectrum of data ethics when it comes to consent, and nothing with the scale or compliance necessary for marketers to place their trust in. But they just can't let go. They can't admit they've been duped by digital advertising for 20 years. Nope. And all the colleges teach all digital marketing. Nobody teaches mail. So now let's get over. I was just shocked by this article. Okay, Ad Age sent me an email. Pick up where you left off. They email me 11 times a day. And I don't look at any of them. I just put them in a folder and I delete them all. But anyway, I can prove it to you 11 times every day. Business day. I don't know about the weekends. I haven't looked. Why I will not subscribe to Ad Age. So Phoebe Bain did an article titled, Why Direct-to-Consumer Brands Are Increasing Direct Mail Marketing. What a great title. I haven't read the article because Ad Age has the best firewall, or whatever you call it, that I can't penetrate. It's like the only magazine that I can't get at all. And after trying for a while, I gave up. But in 40 years, the mass media general ad world has not recognized the power of direct mail or even acknowledged its existence. So in trying to do that, and so after repeated attempts to read her work, I got this in my morning email. Want to finish reading why direct consumer brands are increasing direct mail advertising? Subscribe now and get 20% off. Okay. And so I started thinking, well, how many articles is Ad Age going to do if I pay them, if I go and get on there and pay them to see their stuff? I don't want to pay for one single article. I'd like to pay for a plethora of direct mail articles. And by the way, I don't subscribe to hardly anything I promote, but I do promote it. I would think some of these people would give me a subscription so I wouldn't have to work so hard at this, but that's the price you pay. Okay, so I wrote him a nice letter, and then I said, it's a huge industry. Direct mail marketing spend in the United States is $41.7 billion, almost $42 billion. Now, it was higher in 2019. This is 2022. So let's compare it with other media. It's almost impossible to compare it. Mail is almost never included as advertising. Television, online, radio, newspapers, outdoor, magazines, and cinema. Even cinema. The coming attractions is counted as advertising. Okay? So at $40 billion, mail would challenge both internet and TV. I looked up these things. It didn't say how many billions it was. It just gave the percentages. Okay, but I found another graph right here. Look at this. Top 5 media in 2022. Total ad spending, $161 billion. Okay, and mail is in there, which was the only one I could find. Okay, there was only one. It was from tvnewscheck.com. Okay, and in there it put direct mail at number 2 at $33.4 billion. Number two from a TV-related publication. And that's at $33 billion. Well, but we're more like $43 billion. or 42 billion. Where does that put us? Number one. Direct mail is number one in advertising expenditures. That's from the advertiser's perspective. But what's the problem? Well, Deborah Korn pointed out that in an ad agency, if you say, let's do some mail, typically they'll say, well, we don't handle the postage because we don't want to take that risk and we don't feel comfortable marking it up. And many of our clients work directly with their printer because that's the other big amount of money. But we'll work on your direct mail for you. We'll do the creative for you. Okay? So if you spend $100,000 in direct mail, the advertising agency is probably only marking up, maybe they're marking up $10,000 worth of creative, and they're billing that directly. They might make $1,700 out of that $100,000. On the other hand, in media, in direct digital media, the ad tech stack makes 30% just for placing it with a bunch of whiz-bang features and modeling and all kinds of scary stuff. Which would you rather promote? Obviously, you'd rather promote the digital. Way better markup. Out of $100,000, you make 30, right? Now, there's some time in there and expense, so maybe you only make 20. And then there's the fraud. And I would contend that the fraud is connected to the ad tech because they both have an incentive on higher clicks. I think Google has an incentive, right? Anyway, so they're manipulating attribution, as I just said in the last article, and they're manipulating the margin that they make. No wonder Ad Age doesn't talk about direct mail. Amazing. Why is there no mail in advertising news? And here it is, right here. Could be the junk, could be advertisers pretend to measure everything, but are rarely doing the kind of disciplined testing born in the direct mail industry. When I was in a general agency, they said, look, we don't want to know whether it really works or not. We want to win awards. And the ad manager for the client wants to win awards. They literally told me they didn't want to measure. At least it was, that was the creative director at the ad agency. So, I make that case right here. And so Dr. Augustine Fu says basically you'd be better off giving your money to the publishers and not going through the ad tech, not worrying about the cookies. Anyway, I won't be subscribing to Ad Age anytime soon, but I'd be happy and honored to help Phoebe Bain in her great work. I actually went through about 6 months of her posts. She works really solid in the direct-to-consumer area, and I would love to. I did reach out. I sent her a Connect invite and mentioned this article. This article has 10 times, no, probably closer to 50 times the engagement of my average post. LinkedIn loves it. I don't know why. I had tons of tags in it. I did all kinds of things wrong, and yet it's got over 50,000 impressions, whatever that is. And my average doesn't probably get much. Well, I think I'm about 1,000 a day, but I don't know what that per post. It's about 500 a day, so that's a lot. Anyway, have a great day. I've talked enough. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye. And I'll put a link to this article. 30 comments. A lot of great information in here, but I didn't print it all out. Okay.